Perfect.
So let's see who we have on here. I have to look over here because I got my monitor I can actually see. It's like a drive-in movie screen. See if I can pronounce all these names. I saw you do, Murray. I saw you make that face when I said that. I think I do. I think there's Latanya. Latanya's on her way to being famous, isn't she? Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where
And
does she live?
you can, there you go, Latonia.
Hey, good morning. Nice to meet you, Mr. Young. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I got Sabina in my life.
Okay, that's a good
And
luck charm.
and and she could ride her bicycle to my house. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm his Amber Alert. He
So,
falls. I'm gonna know. Get a lot of texts.
Latanya, where you located?
Originally I am from New York City, but I am living in Richmond, Virginia right now.
New York City is a good place to be from, okay? Anywhere
Yeah.
else. Anywhere else. All right, Sabina, let's get some stuff done. What are we doing today?
All right. Well, I kind of already kind of hyped everybody up to talk to you. I've been kind of pitching this for a little bit. I've been teasing them out. Every time I
Well,
talk to them,
what?
like, just wait. We're gonna meet with Danny soon. Um, it's been the never-ending kind of taste test, but I really wanted Danny to come kind of connect with y'all about one, building and kind of what that looks like, but also about what symmetry could do for you. I feel like every time me and Danny connect, because we connect about once a week, I always leave feeling kind of ready to just run through a brick wall, but ready to see the big picture of this. I know for a lot of us, sometimes we're kind of focused on the micro, our dials, that no show, underwriting, this next part of it. But Danny helps you see kind of the whole picture. Those are all pieces of the puzzle. And Danny, I feel like he's the best at showing the whole picture of it. So I kind of want him to encourage us and kind of just speak life into us, but also expand your vision. I feel like there's nothing that, I mean, he does so many things well, but that is one of the best things he does is expand the vision of what this could be for you. So that's what I wanted him to talk about. Do you have
I
any
appreciate that.
thoughts
I
after that?
appreciate you.
Or do you want me to ask the first question?
No, you can ask a question. Go ahead.
Okay. So I kind of wanted to know, because most of these people are in their early 20s, early 30s. What do you feel like symmetry could do for them at this age compared to maybe, or I guess any age? What do you think for them could
Yeah.
life look like
Yeah.
if they committed the next 10 years to this business?
Some of y'all, if you're on my Sunday night call, you've heard me say that seeing comes before wanting. You have to see something before you can want it. This is why you need to always, no wonder I can't see you. You need to always, always, always. Now that's better. Stay away from new car dealerships. Okay. So you drive there in a perfectly good car, had it for a few years, nothing's wrong with it. And then you go walk around a car lot, and on your way home, you hear every squeak, everything wrong with your car. And then you get new car disease, and there's no cure for it, okay? Well, it's the same thing with anything. You come here, the main
No,
reason
no. Laura, video. Sorry, good.
the main reason that people that don't make it here don't make it here. And understand this, a lot of people don't make it here because it's not easy. And it's not easy for one reason. We deal with people. And a lot of y'all are young, but you've dealt with people your entire life. Some of them you like, some of them you don't like. Um, it's an ordeal dealing with people sometimes, okay? Because everybody's different. We would like for everybody to be just like us, think like us, talk like us, but it's not that way. When I got here, I mean throughout my career, because I've been insurance licensed for 42 years. I've been with Symmetry 12 and a half years. But I spent in my early years, I could not understand why people didn't see what I saw, why people didn't set the appointments I set, why people didn't go to training class. I'm telling you, I struggled with that. And so when I first got into the insurance business, I recruited. I've only been three places in my life in insurance, but I built it at all three of them. Okay, because I realized early on that I didn't want to do all the work. I didn't. First of all, I didn't like sales. I especially didn't like insurance sales because back in those days, this is the early 80s. Insurance had a different, people thought differently about insurance people back then. Okay. They'd cross the street to not have to pass you on the sidewalk or something. And so wouldn't invite you to family reunions and stuff like that. So I realized early on that I didn't want to sell, period. Now I did sell because that's how we get paid, okay, by creating clients. But I could not understand why people would come, they'd take a look. I mean, Sabine, if you and Christian go to a movie, there's a good chance one of you will love it and the other one will hate it. Okay. That's unexplainable, but it is a fact. All right. So if I can get one thing into today, understand this. This is not the insurance business, is not the annuity business, it's not the debt-free life business. This is the people business. People who I generally give people a pop quiz, new people that I'm talking to about coming here. Number one, can you work with people? And everybody says yes. Okay. But the hard one is number two. Can you make yourself work? And see, lots of people can make themselves work when the sun's out, and everything's happy, happy high notes. But, get punched in the throat, get a no show. All of a sudden, this thing looks differently. You forgot why you came here. You thought it was going to be all nice and easy. Well, that's why you got to grow yourself. So, but if you can work with people and make yourself work, you can't fail here. As long as you work the symmetry system, you cannot fail because they have built a system that works for you if you work the system 100% of the time. And so, but just understand that 'cause a lot of people come here and they say, well, I don't know anything about sales. Well, I don't know anything about insurance. Well, look, I'm glad about both those things, okay? Because I don't have to unlearn anything from you. And so we're in the people business. So if you like people, if you like helping people, if people like you, then that is a huge, huge advantage here starting out. And it continues to be a huge advantage for you. And so when I realized that early in my career, from that point on, I knew that this was the industry for me because I love people. I hate sales, but I love people. I hate insurance sales especially, but I love people. And so, Sabina and Christian, but we've shared numerous meals, okay, which is about the best thing we do, I think. And but I like being around people. Stan and I are fixed to have another anniversary and yet another anniversary in August. 57 years. Now, every year is getting close, so every year, I'm gonna ask Sandy, who do you want to get to go with us? And we always go to Ruth Chris. Said, who you want to get to go with us? Monday night or whatever. And she'll say, it's our anniversary. I mean, do we have to have somebody else? I mean, can it just be me and you? I said, well, sure, it can be me and you, but it's a four top table, Sam. You got two other chairs there. Wouldn't it make sense to have somebody else sit there? Oh man, I'm surprised I've gotten away with that so many years. But so if you like people and you like being around people, but you don't know anything about building, here's what I realized early on. If I'm going to build an agency, I want to build it with people I know. And if I get some people I know, this is what I did my first 3 weeks in the insurance industry. I got my license, I got my first promotion, and I had 9 recruits. And therein started the problem. I didn't have a clue how to get somebody else to do something. I'm telling you, I mean, I can get me to work. I can get me to show up. I can get me to run appointments. I can do that. But I had no idea how to get somebody else to do something. So I pretty much just killed all 9 of them just out of ignorance. My leadership was not the best. I think I said the other night, I couldn't lead a person out of a room made out of doors. That's what kind of a leader, that's what kind of a leader I was. And so I just killed them. I asked somebody, you have appointments this week? No, I didn't know. I killed him. And so, but see, I learned from that. And this is the big thing with people. You you're going to have a lot of lessons in this thing, okay? But if you learn those lessons, I'm telling you, and this is it. Look, this number I'm fixing to give you. Get gets shorter and shorter and shorter. It used to take people 4 or 5 years to become an agency. It used to be an agency manager before we had ownership. Okay. 4 or 5 years, 6 years, something like that. We have people doing it now in less than 9 months, really. Serena, how long you been here?
This is month 8.
Month 8. Show off. So, but think about that. Come here, 8 months. In your ninth month, you could qualify for AO. This just crazy. And you're not 30 years old yet. That's even crazier. So, but you have to, it all starts, and this is the homework I'm gonna give y'all. It all starts with what you want. You. And look, you're not gonna want the same things Sabina wants, but I encourage people, especially early on, because they're not used to doing this, okay? But I encourage people to spend some time by yourself, with yourself, thinking about what you want. Because this is a business, I'm telling you, 100% of your success here is going to be predicated by what you want, because what you want determines what you do, and what you do determines what you get. So the mistake a lot of people make here is if they want if they want more, they want to get more, they think they need to do more. When in actuality, you need to want more because that controls everything. I don't think people spend a lot of time at all thinking about that stuff. They tend to think about the bad stuff that happens during the day. You got one no show, or you got somebody that's ugly to you on a phone call or something, and you take that 5 minutes or that 10 minutes and you stretch it into 8 hours, and you go to bed at night thinking about that 10 minutes. See, that is something you have to grow through because it doesn't matter. Because the most important word to people here is next. If you have an appointment and you write somebody, don't be celebrating for 2 weeks about that. Okay, be thinking next. Who am I see next? If they don't buy, who am I going to see next? And that keeps you from dragging yesterday into today or last week into this because you got to always be looking at what you want. And I'm telling you, whatever you want here, you can. If it involves money, if it involves freedom, if it involves control of your life, you get all that here. You can get it all here. But you can't get it here if you don't grow yourself. And that's the main thing. This is why a lot of people fail because they want to come here from where they came from and they want to continue being that person and expect more. Doesn't work that way. Because everybody on this call, you are right where you're supposed to be right now, based on the choices you've made and the effort you've put in. So if you want to go to a bigger, better place, you're going to have to become a bigger, better person. And I learned that early on. So how do you become a bigger, better person? There's 4 things. Number one, you read. Look, there was a huge time in my life where all I read, 100% of what I read was Sports Page and Sports Illustrated. That was it. Well, when I get into the insurance business, I noticed that the big players read and they read the right stuff, and none of it was Sports Illustrated. And so I started reading, especially biographies, because when you read a biography, I don't care who it is, whatever successful guy, from Thomas Jefferson to Steve Jobs, it doesn't matter. When you read about them, they struggled mightily before they became successful. Everybody struggles in the beginning. You don't come here and start out an expert. Okay, you become an expert if you stay here long enough and do the right things long enough. So you read and read the right stuff. Read stuff that resonates with you. Look, I've got a lot of books in my office that I started and put down because it didn't resonate with me. The guy, Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins, the guy, he gets people to walk on fire. I'm not walking on fire. No. I'll start a fire and throw some ribs on or something, but I'm not walking on fire. No. And so I thought, I mean, his voice gives me a severe pain behind my right eye. I just don't know what that's about. But I bought his book and I opened the book up and I start reading and it's coming to my brain in his voice. I can't read the book. But I've read every John Maxwell book out there. Okay. He speaks to me. So you got to read. Second thing you got to do is you got to associate. Look, everybody's call came here from a different place. And the people that you hung around with, because you tend to hang around people like yourself. Okay. Uh, Live in the same kind of house, drive the same kind of car, have the same kind of income, that sort of thing. So you, I mean, you really do become who you hang around with the most, okay? And so you come here and you want to be successful here, you got to hang around successful people, and they're not hard to find. They're not hard to find here now. And see, I guarantee you, when the four of us go out to eat, Sabina is taking it all in. I mean, she's like a sponge. Now, Christian never stops eating. Okay, he doesn't quit chewing enough to hear anything. So, because he takes a bite and he's looking around at your plate. I told him, don't be looking at my plate now. You're gonna lose a hand if you come over here by my plate. But see, she's taking all this in because she wants to win. So, but here you get to hang around the right kind of people. You get to hang around successful people. I promise you this: somebody who makes 200,000 a year thinks differently than somebody who makes 30,000 a year. Somebody who has a job as an employee thinks differently from the employer. There's a guy here in Baton Rouge that there's I think 40 McDonald's here. He owns them all, and you can't find him in any of them because he's not flipping burgers. All right, because he's got system-driven income. This is what you're trying for here. Okay, you want system-driven income. You don't want personal income where your income is tied to your feet. You got to be present to get paid. Okay, that's what's great about this. You want what they call passive income. Passive income is income that you make when somebody else works. And here we have, look, we got bonuses, that's passive income. We have overrides, that's passive income. The resets are passive income. And Symmetry's goal for us is to have massive passive income. There are people, really smart people at the home office that right now, today, working on things to increase our passive income and to increase our time so that we can take that time and spend it with the people we want to spend it with. But you got to associate with people. This is how you learn. You learn from other people. You learn from people who are where you want to be. And so that's the second thing. Third thing is you gotta attend. You gotta go to stuff. Now you don't have to go to everything because there's too much stuff. Okay, there is absolutely too much stuff. And so you have to pick what's going to help you the most, what's going to work for you, and go to that. But see, calls like this, conference, the huddles, the powerhouse, all of these things are things that you can attend where you can learn what you need to learn in order to win here. You can't come here and just be a lone ranger and say, I'm gonna do things my way. You're gonna fail. That's a 100% failure rate. So, but you gotta attend. And the last thing is you gotta struggle. And that's what separates those who can from those who won't. Struggle is your friend. Okay, believe it or not, struggle makes you stronger, not weaker. You break a bone in your arm, and they set that thing right, and when it heals, it's stronger than it was before you broke it. And so when you get knocked down, you have two choices. You can get up, and you're stronger when you get up, or you can just lay there and maybe 911 your mama or something, and maybe she'll come get you and take you home and lay out your jammies for you and make you some SpaghettiOs, okay? But winners get up, okay? They get up. This is why it's so easy to win here. Most people won't get up. They've never been taught to get up, and they don't want something bad enough to get up. But once again, see, that separates those who won't from those who will, and those who will are the winners. So, but just understand the struggles part of it, because here's how it works. You get knocked down. You have a terrible day. When you get up, you're stronger. And that new strength is going to help you through the next time you get knocked down. And then you get up and you're stronger again. And you get knocked down enough and get up enough and you win. Those people who continue to get up win. And everybody here, Marshall Whalen, Edward Pritchett, me, everybody's been knocked down more than you can count. And look, they still have semi bad days. It's just that they get up so fast you don't know they got knocked down, because the winners don't let that stop them. They just don't stop. And that's what we did. The way I say it is, Sam and I got here last week in November 2013. Some of y'all weren't born in, I don't think, looking at y'all. And I got on it that the last week in November, and I'm still on it. That's all I've done. I just outwork people. Now, if you call this work, I get to talk to people like Sabina every week, people of my choice. And understand this, you need to build. You absolutely need to build here because you can't get any of the good stuff without building. Okay. You can't become an agency owner without building. You can't become a 130 contract. You can't become an equity partner. It makes no sense to be here and not partake in all the stuff that Symmetry has to offer. And so that's all I did. I go. Look, I don't have bad days anymore because I had all my bad days back then. Because I've had probably more days than a lot of y'all. That's a lot of days. So I forgot your question.
My question was kind of like, what could Symmetry do for them with
Yeah.
them being
And
so
here's what
young?
it can do for you. Let me tell you what it can do for you. Because people, I think that the vast majority of people that come to Symmetry to make money. Okay. Symmetry, the people that win big here, it becomes something much bigger than money. Okay. Because we are absolutely in the life-changing business. Look at Marshall Whalen. Marshall Whalen came here. He was here right after the company opened in what, 2009. He was broke as a goat. He'd been in mortgage lending and he owned 14 properties, making a whole bunch of money. And then 2008 got here, where the housing market just collapsed, lost everything, lost everything. Now, I mean, look at last month. His bonus was 140,000 for the month. How sick is that? And so Edward Pritchett came here. Edward Pritchett has a degree, chemical engineering degree from Yale. Yeah, found himself. Matter of fact, he was and he's from Asheville, but he got a job at a big law firm in Atlanta, and he was there for a couple of years. And then his parents lived in Asheville. His daddy had a construction company, and his mother died one day unexpectedly. She was like 54, 55 years old, something like that. So Edward quit his job at the big law firm, not law firm, whatever it was, and moved to Asheville to help his daddy with the construction company. And then the housing thing, 2008, 2009, once again, his daddy lost the construction company in like 2010. And so Edward found himself unemployed, wound up, believe it or not, he wound up for 2 years in the insurance business with a debit route. If y'all don't know what a debit route is, it's god awful is what it is, okay? It's it it's low income market where the agent goes by every week and picks up money, $4, $7, $8 that a week. And these people, very low income people, they know when you're coming, so they hide from you. So you're chasing people trying to locate somebody that need to get $8 from. 2 years. He made $32,000 each of those 2 years. And then Symmetry found him. His bonus last month was over 100,000. Ridiculous. On and on. Jacob Poe was a bartender. Uh, Kevin Purdy worked in people's cellars, whatever that is, kind of water, something, something, something. My background was, I was a shift worker at Exxon for 16 years. But my point is, you can become whatever you want to become. See but the biggest thing is not the money. The biggest thing is the freedom. That's what you're fighting for here, the freedom. Sandy and I, every day, every day, we get up and we determine the who and the where and the when and and the how long. I mean, you want somebody to go out and eat with, call us. We're always available. Okay. It's my favorite thing. See, I love people bringing me food, especially good food. So, but that's what you can have here. See, and if you can take somebody like a school teacher. I've got a lady, Melissa Banning. She's probably in her 40s, lives in Arizona. I met her at a meeting in Arizona. She'd been teaching school 16 years. And I happened after went to some restaurant afterwards, and I happened to be sitting next to her. And I said, "You teach?" She said, "I do." She said, "What do you?" I said, "What do you teach?" She said, "I teach kindergarten." I said, "You like it?" She said, "I absolutely love it. I will do this the rest of my life." I said, how many kids do you have an impact on each year? She said, about 25. I said, here's what I know. I know the best way to help kids is to help their parents' financial picture. And that's what we do. And, you could help 1,000 kids a year doing this. So she came to work with us part-time. She's part-time 6 months, took us sabbaticals, never went back, made $194,000 her second year here. See, that's what this thing can do. Jacob Poe, bartender, gets home at 2 o'clock in the morning every night, could not afford to have kids. Jacob Poe now, I think they had a set of twins and they had another one, so they got three now, all because of symmetry. But see, that's the sort of thing that happens here. If you're the right kind of person, you care about people, you want better, and here's the killer. Are you willing to put in the time and effort to get what you want? That's why what you want has to be important enough to you to put in the work. And look at all the help you get. I mean, there's nobody. Just take this Schnitzer agency. There's nobody in that agency that won't help somebody else, even people outside of his agency. And you don't have that anywhere. Okay. And you 100% control your schedule, which makes it great for moms with kids. By the way, do we have any guys on here? I can't see. This is a woman's business. I'm telling you, y'all are so much better at this than we are because people trust y'all, and men are just dogs. Okay, you ask a guy, how's your business? The first thing out of his mouth is going to be a lie. Okay, he's going to go, say, means I'm fixing to tell you a lie. And so if you ask a woman how things are going, she's going to tell you the truth. And y'all, look, y'all are more trustworthy. That's just the way it is. Y'all have earned that. Okay. So I like Susie. Susie has like one guy in her whole agency, it seems like. Tears it up. And you get a mom, you get a single mom. They got a big, big reason to win here. And they're willing to put in the work. So that's the sort of things you get 100% control of your schedule, 100% control of your income. So you need to build. Well, I don't know how to build. Well, we're going to teach you how to build. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to help you build. And we're going to be with Sabina. I've done calls with you, with, people you want to recruit, stuff like that. It's just the easiest thing, the simplest thing to do. Now, once again, we deal with people. Everybody's not going to come here. We just want to know which ones will. Okay. Because what I want to know from somebody when I'm trying to get somebody to come here, I want to know two things. Are you interested in making money in addition to what you're currently making? And if that answer is yes, then they get question number two. We need to have a call where we can see if you're interested in making money the way we make money. But think about this. Sandy and I came here last week in November, and I came here not to sell. By the way, I don't know if you want me to tell them this or not, that early in the career, I have written in 12 and a half years, I have written 10 apps. 10, two handfuls, 10. Because I didn't come here to sell, I came here to build. And I've gone from me and Sandy by ourselves. Here we are 12 and a half years later. I've got 580 agents, I think, writing 2,500, 2,600 apps a month. We did 3.6 million in premium last month. I didn't write. I haven't written an app, but since before COVID. How long ago? It's probably been 10 years. So, but see, that's because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to sell. I don't like sales. I don't like being looked at like a salesperson. But I'm very interested in changing lives. And see, you can change somebody's life here, if they die by having a mortgage protection policy on them. Okay. But see, you can change somebody's lives way bigger by giving them this opportunity and helping them win here. And the rest of their life is going to be better and better and better. I'm telling you, at the age of some of y'all, it's insane what your life's going to look like which Sabina's what, 27? It's insane what your life's going to look like at probably before 32, 33, just crazy. So once again, Jacob Poe went from zero to over 1 million income. Marshall's just plumb sickening. You look at his numbers, did 60. And look, when we're talking about building a team, this is no more than attracting people to your agency. Look, they're not going to come here because of you. They're going to come here because of what Symmetry can do for them, what you're going to show them what Symmetry can do for them. And the right people are going to come, and the wrong people may take a look. They may come and they're going to leave because it's too hard, because they got a lead with a bad phone number on it. So that's a reason to quit. Okay. So, but you don't have to have 1,000 people writing business. Marshall's got like 700. Edward's got like six something. We've got 580, something like that. But you attract people to the absolute best opportunity in the world. You understand we have no territories, we have no minimums, we have no quotas. I have people that are making $500 a month because that's what they want to make. They need that. That's tuition for one kid, baby. And we help them get that $500. I've got people that make 5,000, 6,000 a month part-time because they're willing to put in the work. That's what they want. They're willing to put in the work for it. But I've also got agency owners that make 75,000 a month. I mean, look, this is when somebody says this sounds too good to be true, I totally agree with them. Totally. It is, but it's real. And there's just so much proof here. So when you determine what you want, we put together a game plan for you. Then you have to decide if you're going to put in the work to make that game plan work. And so, but you'll be surprised now, and I know y'all already are, about how much support there is here. Because corporate America, you got no support. If you do it wrong, they're going to fire you. And you got to learn by yourself. And then some new person comes in, and you got to train that person. Then that person becomes your boss. See, it's all this kind of stuff in corporate America is just stupid. But that's where the majority of people are. 163 million people out there today in their cubicle, small business, whatever. 163 million. Symmetry, after 16 years, has about 3,000 agents writing business each month. 163 million out there. That's our market. And so if you're going to build, we're just going to go get some of those people. And the easiest way to do it is to go get some people that know you. And then look, you become an agency owner, and that's where the fun starts. Because that's where you bonus. I mean, look, they pay $1 million a month out in bonuses. You know where that money comes from, where that million comes from? It comes out of the owner's pockets. It comes out of their profit. But they see this is a different company. They reward the people the most who help the company the most to grow. Because they went from zero to 281 million in 16 years. That's unheard of. During the three bad COVID years, Symmetry was up 35 million, 40 million, 45 million. Nobody else did that. Nobody else. So you have the opportunity. The question is, what are you going to do with the opportunity? And once again, if you're not building, you're going to wish you had. Because a lot of people say, "Well, I want to learn everything before I do anything." Well, you just tell them then to go back to Target, because those people never win here. Okay, because you're never going to learn everything. It's too much stuff. What you need to learn about is people, because that's where the fortunes are. So you can make good money just producing. You can. I've got Bo Hirschfield, another ex-bartender. See, bartenders have an advantage. They're used to hearing people say yes. One another, yes. One another, yes. And so, but Bo Hirschfield has written between 460,000 and 490,000 each of the last 4 years personally. Personally. That's a lot of money. He's on a 120 contract. Do the math. But see, last year, 2025, they gave an award to the guy that had the top most number of applications personally. 901 applications this guy wrote last year, and he got it quickly. My agency submitted 30,700 apps last year. Now, which one would you rather have? See, because here's the deal. He can't do that long term. This is not an individual sport. This is a team sport. because you'll have a day. If somebody wants to just be a personal producer, they can do that. But they're going to have a day where they get up and they just absolutely cannot dial because all that weight is on you. Every day it's on you. I didn't want that kind of career. See, every day I get to sit here and talk to people like y'all. If it rains, I don't have to go outside. If it's cold, I don't have to go outside. And Sabina knows I don't, okay? She knows I don't. So, but it all comes down to what you want. And what I would like for y'all to want is I would like for y'all to want to build an agency. And we're going to help you do that. Because you can look, I total randomness. I ran into a guy in December of 2006. I wasn't with Symmetry yet, but I run into this guy outside of a coffee shop. I'm walking into the coffee shop, and for some reason, I don't know what that reason was, but some reason I just happened to look to my right, and this guy who I hadn't seen in 3 or 4 or 5 years was on his cell phone about 20 feet away. I waved to him. I go in. When I turn to leave, this guy from outside is sitting in the booth. So I slide in the booth. Really good guy. He was like early 40s. Um, was an outside salesperson. I'm not sure what he sold, but he had a 14-year-old daughter in Catholic school down here. So we're talking, and he asked me. He said, "Are you still with that?" It was Primerica, so what? You still with Primerica? I said, "I'm not. I left 90 days ago." He said, "What are you doing?" I showed him a lead sheet. I said, I'm in mortgage protection." I said, we have tons and tons and tons of these leads. When he asked me, he said, "You think I could make $1,000 a month working part-time with you?" Because he brought it up. He said, "I have my 16-year-old is costing me $1,400 a month to send her to high school." And he said, "Now, that includes a tutor," to which I said, "You should have had a smarter kid." See, you can't say that to a resume. Okay, I don't recommend you say that on an interview if you're interviewing. But see, he laughed. Look, he had to go back and get his license renewed. It took him 6 weeks. In that 6 week period, he brought me 36 people, all friends of his. One of his friends that we talked to did three-way calls before Zoom, did a three-way call with a friend of his and a lady in Sacramento, California. We got her. Through her, we got a friend of hers in Oklahoma City. Through him, we got a friend of his in Oklahoma City. Through him, we got a friend of his in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And through that Tulsa, Oklahoma guy's daughter, we got a lady in Nashville, Tennessee named Ashley Tarr. Now, a lot of you people don't know who that is, maybe, but she was awesome. I bought her agency back in November. But that one guy, almost 20 years ago, who lasted a year, by the way. I guess his daughter graduated or something. But that one guy was responsible, 2025, for 25 million of the 35 million that my agency did. One guy, I mean, I say it's random, but things happen for a reason. Okay, it wasn't random. So you don't need the world. You get you two or three good people like yourselves. Those people know two or three people, good people. Because good people know good people, okay? Derelicts know derelicts. That's the way it works. But you find a good person, like Sabina. Man, I'm thinking, girl, you're gonna build a gigantic agency. Because I asked her two questions. I'll ask y'all the same thing. Do people that know you like you? You remember that conversation, Sabina? Do people that know you like you? She said yes. I said, do people that meet you and Christian like you quickly? Yeah. Well, that's worth hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because when I recruit somebody, or when I help one of my agents recruit somebody, what the people in cemetery, the vast majority of people in cemetery want from that person is they want applications. They want to get on the leaderboard as having a new writer. Okay. That's not what I look for with a new person. When I get somebody new, I look for credibility. Because credibility, you can make a fortune. And that's all me and Sandy had when we got here. We had a lot of people that knew us maybe for 2 months, 2 years, 20 years, 40 years, never known us to be fools. And so if I asked one of these people, will you do me a favor and take a look at these 2 3 minute videos about my company? Because I'm looking to expand all the way across the country. take a look at that and see if you know somebody that might be interested in coming to work with me part-time. I got a lot of agents make 4, 5, 6,000 a month part-time. And so of course they would do it. And that's how I have built probably 90% of my agency. And so I'm looking for credibility. And every one of y'all on this call, every one of y'all have 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 people that will come take a look at this just because you did, just because you asked. And that's what you need to use, that credibility. Sabina, your turn.
That's amazing. So you kind of said that text. So you say you kind of send a text out just saying, "Hey, would you mind taking
Yeah.
a look at this?" Do you have any other kind of text that you send out or any other? Because I know you don't, and I know a lot of people kind of, if you start going to building, you hear about Craigslist, you hear about Indeed, LinkedIn, interviews, things like that. And you need to have 15 of them a week. I know you kind of build by no interviews. You haven't interviewed a single person. So kind of aside from that text, what are some other kind of texts or maybe things you send out
Well, first of all,
to
let me tell you
reps?
why I don't do that, okay?
Yeah.
What most people do. Most people, 15 interviews. Look, I've never done one interview. None. Zero. Because I want to know what I'm getting. I want to know something about that person. So I'm either gonna, it's either gonna be somebody that I already know, I know about this person, or for example, it's gonna be somebody Savina knows. She's gonna tell me about this person. I say, let's see if we can do a Zoom with them. And I'll get her to send a text out. And the text just says, I don't know if your people have it or not, Savina, okay, but get it to them if they don't, all right? Because y'all, look, y'all know this. If you're setting appointments and all, people don't answer their phone anymore if they don't know who it is because it might be a bill collector. So you dial and dial and dial and dial and dial, and you can't get, you've had a lead for 2 months, you've called them 300 times and you hadn't got them yet. Well, we live in a texting world. And so I didn't put it together. One of my guys put it together, and it's just a text that says, "Hey, I just went to work for a company part-time, try to make an extra 1,500, $2,000 a month. Wealthiest industry on the face of the earth, highly regulated, work from home. I've attached 2 3-minute videos to this text. Would you do me a favor and take a look at those 2 videos, and see if you know someone who might want to come to work with us part-time?" So you're not asking your brother-in-law to come work with you. I don't want you asking him that because he may say no, and now you can't go to family reunions because it's awkward. Okay. And so, but you can send out 5 a day, 10 a day, 20 a day. Somebody is going to respond back and say, I'd like to know a little bit more about this. And so when that happens, we set up a 3-way call, a Zoom with my new guy who doesn't know, come here from Sikkim. Okay. He just showed up, and his brother-in-law, because you'd be surprised at how many people that you send the videos to are interested. And so we'll do it through a call. And on the 3-way call, I talk about two things. Because look, there's two kinds of people out there that you can recruit. Okay, there's producers and there's builders. Given a choice, which one would you rather have? Builders. Here's why. Producers don't stay. Somebody that just produces does not stay. They produce until they don't, and then they leave. And so builders, though, on the other hand, builders produce and build and stay. See, it's all about finding people that stay. Because I don't want a hamster wheel business. I recruited 8 people this month to replace the 7 people that quit last month. That sort of thing. I want people to come here. I want them to be good people, and I want them to stay. Because otherwise, same thing, same every day, every day, every day, every day. I don't want to do that. Okay. So when you're talking to people, what you talk about, the bait you use, for example, is going to determine what kind of people you get. Is it a producer? Is it a builder? Because producers respond to certain verbiage, okay? And that verbiage is leads, contracts, training. Producers love training, all capital letters. They can't get enough training. And see, here's what I know. I learned this 100 years ago. What you know is not going to get you out of the ditch. And because you're going to get in a ditch every now and then when you first hear, okay? What you know is not going to get you out of the ditch. The only thing that's going to get you out of the ditch is what you want. That's why, once again, it's so important that every day you spend a little time thinking about what you want. Because what I'm telling you, whatever it is, if you'll come here, you do the right things long enough, you're going to get what you want. But you have to know what that is. But see, producers love training. They their lifeblood basically is leads. Well, what people don't know is that what attracts a producer repels a builder. See, they announced about probably 8 years ago now, Sabina, they announced that you could have 5 huddles a week if you wanted to. I threw up in the bushes because I knew what it was. Here comes 5 more hours a week of training, all training, all training, all training. And you're not going to win here with training. Now, do people need to know what they're doing? Sure. We make sure of that. But see, Brian Williamson says that 70% of what you learn here, you need to learn by doing. And then another 20% you learn from other people. And then 10% you learn by studying. But see, most people have that just the opposite. Vast majority of their time is in training, training, training. Well, you're not going to win with those kind of people. And so if you want to build it though, when I do the three-way call with somebody, I talk about the two things that attracts builders. It doesn't attract producers, okay? Because I'm looking for people that are going to come here and stay. And so I use verbiage that appeals only to builders. And what appeals to builders is two things: bonuses and ownership. That's all I talk about. I don't mention leads. I don't mention contracts. I don't mention training. I still get nauseated thinking about all the training that takes place here. So you're going to win here by doing, and you're going to win here by doing the right things that work for you. Just because something doesn't work for your upline or somebody else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Okay, everybody's got their own personality. This is not a cookie cutter business where everybody's going to be identical. You say this when they say that, you say this. No, I want people to use their personality and build with, because that's going to attract people. See, you're going to attract, I mean, including you, you're going to attract people who are attracted to you.
Is it me or can y'all hear him?
I think it's everyone. Oh,
Okay.
he's back.
Paused. There you go.
What happened?
It paused for a second. You stopped
I
on.
did.
Yeah,
Every time I hit my desk, it does that. Next time you're over here, since you do have a place on my bookshelf with a picture, okay,
maybe. I don't see it.
fix this. Get Christian to fix this when I hit my desk. So my bad. I need handcuffs. I forgot what I was talking about anyway. But see, that's what you want to. That's how easy it is. Because think about this. Think about how old each one of y'all think about this. How old you are now, and think about how long in your life. Say you're 35. How long in that 35 years have you been interviewing people? And usually the answer is, well, 2 months. However long they've been here. Then I ask them, well, how long have you been having conversations? My whole life. At least since you're 3. Which one do you think you ought to be better at? See, I'm better at having conversations than I am interviewing people. Because, well, first of all, you're talking to somebody you don't know, somebody who doesn't trust you, somebody 3,000 miles away. You know nothing about them, and you're going to try to convince this person that an opportunity is better for a job because they're looking for a job. They're looking for benefits. And another thing, another flaw is that you're not going to be the first person to talk to them, to interview them. You may be the fourth or the 10th or the 20th. Now you got to be different to separate yourself from all those other 20 interviews they've already had. Well, instead of me being the 20th person to interview you, how about if I'm the first person to talk to you about what Symmetry can do for you? You see the advantage? So you got a choice here. And look, and I don't apologize for this, okay? Some of the stuff I say is close to heresy, all right? It's like what Tony Robbins does to me, okay? But what I do works. Sabina knows that. What I do works. I got a track record. Just look at my numbers, okay? My number of writers, which is the key to the kingdom. How many people you have writing business each month is going to determine. It's going to determine uh, the number of apps you get, team wise, amount of premium you get, the number of promotions you get, and the number of deposits you get. Every one of those four things are determined by how many agents you have writing business every month. And so if you want more, the best way to get more is to get more people. But see, we don't do that. What we do is we try to get more premium out of the number of people we have right now. And that's just not going to work because you're always going to have attrition. This thing's always going to be hard for some person. A lot of people, matter of fact. So if you would prefer to have 100% of your income come from you or have 1% come from 100 different people. See, pick the 1%, I'm telling you. But you get, look, once again, I got one who got 36. And that's what's going to happen when you bring in people and you get in their market, which is what we do. You get in their market, you're going to find somebody that's going to bring you 36 or 10 or 15 or what. And you're going to treat them right. That's the part that's how you keep them here. I make it hard for them to get out. And I make it hard for them to get out based on how we treat them once they're here. Because we're going to help them. See, look, when Sabina showed up here, she didn't go to work for us. We went to work for her. The way this thing works. So we're gonna help people until they're strong enough to do it by themselves. Might be a week with some people, might be 6, 7 months with somebody. Doesn't matter because we go to work for you because we want you to stay. We want you to be successful. What else?
Well, I know we have like 7 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask?
I do have a question. You were talking about how builders are attracted to basically just two things, bonus and ownership. Can you elaborate on that and how you kind of talk about that, please?
Yeah. Look, the 163 million people that I mentioned earlier out there in their cubicle, they want three things. They think about these three things. They want more appreciation for the job they're doing, whatever that is. Number two, and that's the when they run surveys, that appreciation, more appreciation is number one on the surveys that people want. Number two, they hear about people getting bonuses. It sounds so cool. You understand that the big majority of people out there in the world have never had a bonus. And the last thing they want, once again, this comes from surveys. Huge amount of people in America, given a choice, would have their own business. They want to own their own business. Now they don't. The majority of them don't because to have your own business typically means you need money, you need an idea, and you need guts. And most people don't have those three things. So think about that. Appreciation, bonuses, ownership. They can get not one of those out there in the real world, but they can get all three here. And that's what I talk about. See, when I get on the three-way call, I've asked my new guy. We're going to be talking to his brother-in-law. Okay. Tell me about it. See, I don't want to have to find out all this stuff by asking them questions like on an interview, find out about people. Okay. I want to know a lot of it because they've already seen the videos and the videos do about 75% of the work. Okay. Because those two videos that I sent, those things resonate with the kind of people I'm looking for. Okay. Second thing it does, it finds people whose timing is right in their life to just take a look at this because we have no control over somebody else's timing. Okay, but somebody may have just died, somebody may have just lost their job, something traumatic, whatever, and just timing just ain't right. Okay, we have no control over that, but that's what the videos do. So when I get when I'm asking this brother-in-law, tell me about it. Well, one of the things he told me, for example, was that they got two kids, and they had to cancel their Disney trip back in December. First time, because flights are so high, hotel rooms so high, food so high, that's too high. So they canceled their Disney trip. Well, here's what I know. I'm gonna talk about that Disney trip when I talk to the brother-in-law. It's not like I know everything about the brother-in-law, but I want to connect with this guy. See, I want to find out, is he a good person? I know that from my guy. Do people like him? Does he do what he says he's going to do? You know, that sort of thing. And so when I get on the call with this guy, I spend probably the first 10 minutes of a 30-minute call asking this guy questions, having a conversation really. I ask a question, he answers, that determines my next question. I want to know, I'll I ask him stuff that I know he knows. Okay, like where do y'all live? Now see if he gets that one wrong, we got a problem from the get-go. Okay, but where do you live? And he'll say, we're in Dallas. I said, are you from there? No, actually, I was born in Georgia. But see, it's a conversation because I want the guy to like me. I want the guy to trust me. I don't want to be a threat in any way, shape, or form. I don't want him to hear anything that he thinks he can't do that's hard or whatever. Okay. And so that's what I talk about. I talk about what symmetry can do for him. It's nothing about me. I don't talk about me on these three-way calls at all. I don't talk about me on my Sunday night call. If I want an example of somebody that's being successful here, I'll use Marshall or Edward or Pogue or whatever because I don't see the guy doesn't care about me, and he shouldn't. He cares about him and his family. And so I talk about what symmetry can do for him and his family. And I'm gonna find somebody. I've got somebody wherever this guy comes from. Say he's a school teacher. I'm gonna use Melissa Banning telling her story. But it's all in just connecting with people. Because here's what I want. Here's what I want that call to result in. I want the guy to be thinking, this thing is way bigger than I thought it was. Number two, I want to do this part time. And number three, I want to do it part time with these two people. That's what I want. But there's no pressure on them. Because understand this, people, especially new people, they say, I don't want to recruit anybody because, I don't, they may ask me how I'm doing. I just started 2 months ago or 3 months ago, whatever. Let me help you with that. They don't care what you're doing. They don't care if you're successful or not. They don't. They know you've been here 2 or 3 months. How successful are you supposed to be? But see, you care enough about them after 2 months. You care enough about them to offer this to them. Okay, but you're not recruiting. This is important. You're not recruiting people to you. You're recruiting people to symmetry. You point to symmetry. You point to somebody that's got the same background they do that's winning here. They don't care. Look, when I was with Primerica, we had some awful weeks. We had some awful months. People, because Primerica is hard. They don't have leads for one thing. But somebody said, well, how are you doing? I said, man, you wouldn't believe how I'm doing. Which is true. They wouldn't believe how awful things were at the moment. But they don't, listen, I promise you, they don't care. They don't care. They care about themselves. They care about their family. So don't think just because of it. See, you should be as excited right now as a brand new person is probably more excited when they first get their welcome email. They don't know anything, and yet they're excited. Excitement is the number one ingredient in recruiting. See, your friends, your family, they need to see a difference in you. That's like Sabina. People look at Sabina, family people say, I don't know I think it's drugs. I think she's got to be on something because all she does is smile these days. She's excited about something. Well, I use that excitement of a new person to recruit for them because that's the best time in the world to recruit. And see if you, like Sabina has a team, okay, and she gets a new person. If she helps that new person make their first sale, that new person is going to be excited. But if she helps that new person get a recruit, that new person is going to stay excited because they got somebody. I mean, you understand that some of y'all maybe have a kid or two, okay? Think about that. Think about think about when you brought that baby home from the hospital. Everything up to that point is now gone. Okay, that life is now over. You can forget all the stuff that you were doing. That just drop a hat, you go to a party. Well, you can't do that anymore because you got an infant that can't feed itself, can't change itself, Same thing when you recruit a new person. Now you got somebody you're responsible for. They can't feed themselves. Hopefully they can change themselves, but you're going to help them. They're going to be excited. And that's your attention. And you just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you get better and better and better. Think about somebody's got 3 kids. The first kid, they never took their eyes off of them. They checked on them every 20 seconds. And then you have the second one. You check on them about every couple of hours. You know. Then you have the third one. You get somebody else to go check on them. It's the way. It's the same thing here. This thing is going to be, look, every expert was once a new person. It's a process. It's a journey. And you're going on a journey with a lot of people, and those people have a vested interest in you and want you to win. And they'll help you win. So I forgot your question too, but
No, that's amazing. Well, I want to honor your time. I know you probably have something right after
I
this,
do. I got
but
like
I want to
I
take a
no.
quick picture. Everyone,
Okay.
we'll
This is a
smile and then,
tradition.
all right, 3, 2, 1. Danny runs on a tight schedule. I took it on my computer.
Oh,
Thank
goodness.
you
Thank
so
you.
much. I'll send it to you. I appreciate you so
Okay.
much
And
for
I'm gonna send you
everything.
that video. I want you to get them to send those videos out with that text.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Perfect.
Okay. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
y'all. Okay. More people
Thank you,
answering
Danny.
everything.
Thank you so
Bye.
much,
Thank you.
Danny.
All right.
We love you, Danny.
Thank
That
you.
was
Have a good day.
awesome, huh?
I
Yeah.
forgot to question. He was great.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll send y'all that out. But, Danny has really transformed kind of what insurance can look like. Those people all got here a good bit before he did, and he has beat people that have been here 7 years longer. But I like how he connects about why what we do matters and even why building matters, because I think insurance has a weird slimy kind of effect when we talk about recruiting.
Yeah.
But the way he talks about it, it's if you knew how good this opportunity was, why would you not want to invite somebody into it? And that's
Yeah.
what I like about it, is because that's how I feel like, because I think Latonia and Olivia, y'all are the only people that are on here from interviews. Everyone else,
Actually, wow.
yeah, everyone else has been a converse. Well, and everyone else has been like a conversation either from TikTok or like Rochelle, obviously y'all are best friends, you and Latonia. So y'all, it's a warm connect, but think about how much more fun it is to have that. Me and Latonia, we worked through our relationship the first few months to become friends because we didn't know
Yeah.
each other. We were
Yeah.
strangers the first few months of her being on my team. But everyone else, we've gotten to, like, from the get-go, there's a trust. And that's what warm market and getting people that or that your people know. There's just this immediate trust because, hey, I know that person. This isn't weird. It's not like some random LinkedIn person. So I don't know. I love how Danny does that. I'll send everybody kind of his text whenever he sends it. But if you have anything that stood out to you, I would love if you could text me and I'll send it over, and just kind of share it with him. Or
Yeah. I think my favorite part was him not liking sales. I was like, wow, because it wasn't about that. He was like, I don't like sales.
okay, but
So
he
I
has
did
thrown
that.
down, I will tell y'all, he sold at all the other companies. He's been a top producer, so he didn't want to sell here, but you still need to learn to sell to feed yourself
No, but
so
like
you
he
build.
did what needed to be done to get through to
Yeah,
where he's at. He was like, I don't love doing that, but the connections, the people, he made it more about less of that, more of this, and like the bigger picture. And
yeah.
that's what I love, like big picture, big picture.
Yeah, I was gonna say don't stop selling because
No.
Danny said he did 10.
No.
I
I
was gonna
just
say you
need
still need
to.
to sell some to pay your bills and then but build so you don't have to sell forever.
Amaru was out of here. She was that.
I was
All
like,
right.
what?
I
Like, I'm
got it. I
done.
found it.
I actually have another call I have to go to. I love everyone on this team. Y'all are
Queen,
amazing. Illy. I no, I gotta run. I have a leadership call.
do you have those 2 videos Danny was talking about?
He's gonna send them to me. Yes.
Yay. Okay. Thanks. That's it.
All right. Bye, everybody. Illy.
Bye,
Good
Sabina.
day.
Bye.
Bye.